Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the Mina channel. And today is a special day, and it's actually really cool. But today is the 13th anniversary of Persona 3. That will be the Japanese release. A couple days ago, we actually celebrated the 11th anniversary of Persona 4. I actually didn't do much for that because I was pretty busy. I was doing some other stuff, so I wasn't able to do a live stream like I wanted to. But for this one, instead of doing a live stream, because I don't have the time either, I will be doing a kind of just going back into the history of Persona 3 and just tell you, should you play Persona 3? A lot of the people that watch my videos haven't really played more games other than Persona 4 or Persona 5. So this will be maybe my chance to tell you into a little bit of Persona 3 and maybe if you should play Persona 3 or not. So tell you about my history of Persona, because even though I have a Persona channel, I haven't really talked about my Persona experience and everything. So I think this will be like a really cool thing to do. But my first game into Persona was actually, besides some Shin Megami Tensei games that I played, was Persona 3. Persona 3 was my first Persona game. I had played Persona 2 with some friends before, so I knew about Persona, but I wasn't really into Persona like I am today. I was kind of like, they look cool. I like RPGs, so whatever. But the game that really put me into Shin Megami Tensei, into the Persona series and everything was Persona 3. I was hanging out with my friends and they were talking to me about Persona. So Persona 3 was the game that I started it, and it really changed my experience as far as what I liked on a game, what I saw on a game that I wanted to play and like more of. And that was really because of the story, the characters. There's just a lot of stuff that really impacted me and everything. And granted, at the time I was really into anime, so my perspective was coming from somebody that likes video games, but likes anime as well, that kind of stuff. So I guess at that time in my life, I was just ready for something like this, and this really triggered my excitement for Persona and everything. So anyway, so tell you about the history of Persona. So Persona 3, it was actually the fourth game in the Persona series. It was the spin-off series of the Shin Megami Tensei Persona What If thing. So this is the fourth game, and at this point Atlus was they didn't like the series, but it wasn't their main series. It was just a spin-off series for them, just like the many other spin-off series that they have, because they have a lot of spin-off. If you know anything about Persona and Shin Megami Tensei, you know they have dozens of spin-offs. But at this point they were looking at the stuff, looking at the success of other Shin Megami Tensei spin-offs, and they said, we want something that is going to really change. And then at this point they decided to change directors. So originally they had a different director. At that point they decided to go with Katsura Hashino, who had worked on really big games like Persona Tensei, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, Digital Devil Saga. So those were like big games, and they did really good for Shin Megami Tensei. So they decided to use Katsura to do Persona 3, and he was awesome. He ended up doing such a good job just transforming the series into something different. He had a lot of ideas, a lot of different designs, and he brought up a new team with people with him, such as changing artists. They had a different artist and then go for a different artist with Shinigami Sujima, who was kind of like the person that started that Persona design. Whenever you think Persona, that character design that you can think of, that's really him doing all this effort and work there. And he really just did such a good job that they made Persona such a different games from the other games, and that's really what I like about the Persona series, because it really changes how the Persona series was looked from Persona 2 and 1 to this one. It was a completely different experience. So some of the bigger changes, and if you haven't played any of the other Persona games, you might or may not know about this, but originally the Persona series was just like the other Shin Megami Tensei games. It's a single story, RPG elements. You walk around in a world or post-apocalyptic environment, get invaded by demons, and you have to fight these demons. So there's a party that groups together and does the thing. So it is the same plot, but they grab more towards a different outlook. So what they did is they ended up choosing the high school setting, like in Persona 1, which was a thing. In Persona 2, half of the game is also in that high school setting. So they decided to stick with that. But what they did is they focused more on that social element. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about the Persona games. The social elements, I think, is what sets them apart from the rest of the Shin Megami Tensei game. Not saying they're better or worse, I'm saying they're different from the other ones. It is because they focus on building those relationships, building those characters that you meet. All of them had interesting stories. All of them have things that you can learn about them. All of them have things that makes them captivated and makes them unique for an experience. That's something that you don't really see in a lot of games. And I really, at the time, I really did appreciate being able to build these relationships with people and being able to, at the same time, have a RPG experience where I'm going to dungeons, I'm doing the classic style of RPG, leveling up, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you're also having this social aspect that makes it really unique. And I think that's where Persona really shine. Persona 3 particularly, which really triggered the continuation of the series and everything, and a huge success from then on. So in my mind, Persona 3 is really kind of like the bridge between what Shin Megami Tensei was and it has become, and what the future of Persona series went to, which I really, again, I really do appreciate. But after the release of Persona 4, they decided that it was time to do an upgrade to Persona 3. That's something that they, at this point, hadn't done before. And that's when the series of small increments they have done so far did. So Persona 3 FES came out then. It came out with additional cutscenes, with additional designs, with additional characters. It had a lot of different stuff, including a brand new ending with new gameplay. So that really added to the experience of it. And since then, Atlus, in fashion of Atlus, has been doing this where they do different renditions of the game, such as Persona 4 Golden and now Persona 4 The Royal. So Persona 3 has had a good treatment, but I think that maybe at this point it does deserve a really good remake. It deserves one, and it needs one because this game unfortunately has not aged really well. First of all, for a PlayStation 2 game, it really didn't look good already. So there are many cutscenes and many other stuff that you look at that they look like PlayStation 1 design and stuff. The combat system on the original Persona 3 was not really good. It was fine, but it wasn't good. The AI was stupid, and you were only able to control one person, the lead of the party. Everybody else controlled themselves automatically to an AI, causing you to make mistakes or to have the AI kill themselves. One of the things that I remember when I was playing Persona 3 was Mitsuru, one of the characters in your party. She's able to do a healing attack, but she's also able to do some kind of hypnosis attack. When you set to the settings or where she can only be a support, she'll do either one of two. So imagine that you're in a situation where you're about to die, and what does she do? Instead of healing you, she will use that hypnosis attack for the enemy. So that will cause you to die instead of that. Persona at that time didn't have a continue, so if you died, you actually had to reset to where your last save file was, which sometimes could be multiple floors. Persona 3 was, in a sense, a hard game because you couldn't save during the dungeon time. You will have to get out of the dungeon before you were able to save, and you can only skip so many floors before you have to go back and everything. So they had a stamina meter where if you are in a specific spot and you're grinding like in every other game, you cannot grind forever. The characters actually get sick or get tired and they are unable to perform, so they can leave your party to rest. That means that you get out of having that amount of people in your party, and you can die more easily. The next day, people don't even want to go hang out with you because they're upset at you and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of mechanics that this Persona game had in general that were unique to an RPG settings that I think really affected that. One of the other things that I really liked was the calendar. The calendar wasn't a thing in Persona 1 and 2, and in Persona 3 suddenly you have this thing where there are certain dates that are important. There are certain dates where you can only go play basketball. There are certain dates that you can only go to the library. There's certain days where you can only do a certain thing, and you have to manage your time to be able to do this. Now, Persona 4 and 5 have really improved on this calendar system, but Persona 3 really implemented the system, and it's been good since then. I really actually like the way that they do it, because you know when things are going to happen based on specific dates and the phases of the moon and all kinds of stuff like that. So I really do appreciate that they were able to implement all that. But if you can tell, I am a huge fan, and I definitely, Persona 3 is my favorite Persona game. This time I will say, if you haven't played this game, do give it a chance. I believe that it does deserve a chance. However, as I mentioned before, this game hasn't really aged well, so it may or may not be kind of your cup of tea as far as like the style and everything like that. There are certain things that are very unique to this game that make it a little bit hard to get into, and I can totally understand that. But there are some other things that I do think that you should consider about. One, Persona 3 got a second remake. That was Persona 3 Portable, that was made for the PlayStation Portable back a while ago as well, in 2011, and that was one of the other ones where I was kind of like, they remade the entire thing again. Now they remade it with a lot of the things from the Persona 4 series. They had a lot of cameos from Persona 4 and from Katarine and everything. They had all different stuff that they implemented and everything. And I really like the way that they were able to do this, because they actually fixed a lot of the stuff that they had before. So if you were to play one, I'll say give it a try to Persona 3 Portable. It's a much better build of the game, and they have it really improved a lot of the issues that they had on the other games as well. One thing that I do want to talk about is the music in Persona 3 is one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard, and this is on par with something like Persona 5 and 4. In some aspects, I even like them a little bit better on Persona 3. It's just there are certain things that I feel like they're really good. Shoji Meguro, the composer of the Persona music, as well as some of the other Shin Megami Tensei games, has such a good style, and he's able to implement this jazz fusion with different styles. On Persona 5, he does acid jazz. In Persona 4, he has like a jazz pop music, and in Persona 3, he has the weirdest thing. He has jazz, rock, and rap together, and he does so well. I think that's one of the things that I really like is how the soundtrack is just so well matched with the story and everything like that. So notice that at this point I have only talked about some of the stuff but I haven't talked about the actual story of Persona 3. So we're gonna move on to the story, and that will be pretty much the wrap up on the video here, but let me go ahead and talk to you about the story and pretty much what I like about it. So one of the things that I like about, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, is the story. And the story is, at this point, I would say cliche compared to the other Persona stories and everything like that. But they do have a lot of twists and turns that they haven't really matched since then, and I really do appreciate that. But the story begins exactly like the other Persona games, Persona 4 and 5. There's a brand new character, Makoto Yuki, and he moves to Tatsume Island, who is a new place where he's moving there. He's gonna start his high school there, and he's just ready to start his life and everything. So he moves into this dorm, and he starts noticing that certain things are not quite right, and he goes to school, he meets friends, and he meets people and everything, and like in every other game, something mysterious happens, and he gets involved into the Persona things. A lot of the different things that happen in this series is Persona users are common, but not really, kind of like, they're kind of like a task force in a sense. There's a group in school that are Persona users, and this is before even the characters showed up into the game or anything like that. So there's a different things that are really different from the other games that I really do appreciate, because it makes them more mysterious. Every character has a history with the Persona world itself and the shadows and everything. So there's a lot of stuff that I find unique to it. So Makoto Yuki then discovers that he has this power of Persona, and he joins the party of the Persona users, and they start to fight the shadows. So same as the other Persona games, pretty much as far as that. The introduction is the same, but the execution is very different from them. So yeah, that's pretty much there. I don't really want to reveal too much of the stuff, because I feel like if I talk to you too much about it, then I'll be giving away some spoilers or some of the things that I would like you to enjoy and everything. This game has a much smaller introduction to the game itself than, say, something like Persona 4 and Persona 5. Persona 5 has almost like a 14-hour tutorial. Persona 4 has like a 4-hour tutorial, and Persona 3 has like an hour or 2 tutorial, and it just throws you into the game. So I think in that aspect it's a little bit better than the other ones in that sense. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. What do you think about this? Do you like Persona 3? Have you ever played Persona 3? If you stuck it around to the end of the video, let me know. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this video here. If you like it and subscribe, it will be cool. But I will see you next time.